On February 10, 2026, the Zimbabwean cabinet officially moved forward with the Constitution Amendment No. 3 bill, a major overhaul presented by Justice Minister Zypo. Now, the most striking changes include stretching the presidential term for 5 to 7 years and scrapping direct popular elections in favor of a parliamentary selection process. Additionally, the president would gain the power to handpick 10 extra senators and establish a new Delimitation Commission to redraw voting boundaries. Now, the government frames this as a push for policy continuity to hit national economic goals. While the proposal is now on the table, it faces a significant legal wall because, according to Section 328 of Zimbabwe's current constitution, any amendments that extend a term limit cannot legally benefit the person currently holding office. And this means that for President Mnangagwa to stay beyond his original 2028 exit date, the government would likely need to bypass this entrenched rule through a national referendum rather than just a vote in parliament. So legal watchdogs like Veritas Zimbabwe and various academic researchers are already flagging this as a constitutional or a potential constitutional crisis as it challenges the core protections designed to prevent indefinite rule. Now, joining us to speak on this, we have Dr. Abigale Mupambi, political analyst, SADC region, Zimbabwe. We also have Nozipho Moyo, executive director, Africa Kiburi in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
So let me begin with Dr. Mupambi. Let's start with the law, right? Section 328, subsection 7 of the 2013 Constitution explicitly states that any amendment extending a term limit cannot benefit the person currently in office. So speak to us. What are your thoughts? Isn't this entire bill, by definition, a legal dead end for President Mnangagwa?
Well, thank you so very much. Like you have rightfully put it across, it will be, unless there is a referendum, which you could pave way for the incumbent president to benefit from such extension, it is legally and likely impossible for the incumbent president to benefit from the extension. But going forward, I think it is beyond President Mnangagwa's benefit. In my own context, the way I see it, it may be a question of the ruling ZANU-PF benefiting. Probably we need to go an extreme way in viewing this. And also, should this proceed, I think what is more important at this juncture, particularly for stakeholders against such, is to capacitate relevant stakeholders, including the citizens, for them to appreciate and understand the limits that are involved or roles that they can play in stopping such from talks, a lot of activism, but there is less understanding on the general populace who are the bigger constituents who can stop this at referendum level. But going forward, we also need to appreciate certain facts that are laid on the table around this amendment bill that is being proposed. We are speaking about national stability. We are speaking about cohesion and strengthening of parliament. Don't you think that if there is cohesion between the executive and parliament, with more powers given to parliament to second the president, I think parliament will be, of course, be more truthful going forward. And of course, speaking about the other side, we see the citizen will be having less contact, less say in the election of the president. That may also speak to a question of the human rights question, and something that this is going to be a consolidation of power within a one-party system. But for me, I want to interrogate the benefits of such versus what is being said. So I think basically activists, the legal experts, the civic society must concentrate more on the question of saying, is this going really to give us national stability as what is being tabled by, now that we'll be having 7 years if this is to proceed. 7 years, we have the next cycle of elections. Is the 7 years not enough to give a chance for any government to implement, be it policies, be it economic programs? Maybe 5 years is too short. So in my view, going forward, we need to have objective interactions going forward, other than mere activism. Let's interrogate the objectivity behind a personality, because for me, I don't think it's about President Mnangagwa. It may be about the ZANU-PF system going forward.
So let's find out, what Nozipho thinks this is all about, because critics are calling this a constitutional capture. Is this about rewriting the rules simply because the clock is running out on the president's final term? Let's hear from you, Nozipho.
Thank you so much. Let me pick up from what Abigale said. The Constitution Amendment talk started with Vision 2030, where President Emmerson Mnangagwa was now coming in and extending. And that was how people have been shadowed. If you look at the bill that they've really put in, that's when they're now sneaking in how they want to hijack and take over. So yes, it's a constitution overhaul, and more importantly, how the one-party state will be solidified. Besides moving the presidential term from 5 to 7 years, let's take note where the bill also talks about the issue of Senate. Remember, statistically, the ruling party, ZANU, has never actually had more presidential winnings from ZANU. So if the House can be hijacked by ZANU, and remember, Parliament, according to this bill, is the one that would elect the president. The question is, who currently runs the Parliament? Let's take over from how everything has evolved after President Emmerson Mnangagwa came in with Senzo Chabam. So technically, it means the Parliament is the one, not the people, that are going to choose the president. Also, there's an addition of senators. Let's also take note how the military is also being elbowed out. Why is that? Because there are factional fights in ZANU, and the president needs to get rid of Chiwenga. So this bill has nothing to do with the national interest of Zimbabwe, but it's ideally to solidify ZANU and the person who will be the captain of that ship, and presently that is the President Mnangagwa. So let's look at the nitty-gritties of how the president would run. You talk about political stability and justifying the reason to amend and give people in power more time. Why are we not amending the constitution for citizens to have a 100-year plan like China? Meaning whoever is in power is there to facilitate the roadmap. Why do we need ZANU to feel the need to say we need 5 to 7 years? Because remember, if any party outside ZANU comes in, it means in terms of development and policy, there's no stability. So this is hogwash when they come with the justification, because the justification should really be about citizens, where the nation is going, more than what the party feels they can do in that 5-year, 7-year. So that is hogwash. Thank you.
All right, now let's come back to Dr. Mupambi. Now, if the goal is institutional efficiency, then people are asking, why the 90-day gazetting period? Is this a genuine window for public dissent, or given that ZANU-PF holds a 2/3 majority, is the outcome already a foregone conclusion?
I think when I look at it, ZANU-PF is also calculating the precision of time ahead of us. If this is to come, there has to be a calculation and a mathematical precision of calculation, so that by 28, probably by before 28, this decision must be done and be able to, of course, counter possibly the 2028 election benchmark. Definitely, it has a bearing. It has a bearing on that. But also, as I weigh in from Nozipho, I still have a feeling that an extension of term if it is genuinely is to be tabled because of on the basis of prolonging the period of allowing implementation of development plan, I think it is noble, considering that even after 5 years, I don't think it is predetermined that it is the opposition that will not get seats, or the seats of the opposition are now under captured ZANU-PF. It was actually going to create more opportunity for the opposition, in my view, right now.
All right, we seem to have lost Dr. Mupambi's audio. We will try to get her back. Now, coming back to you, Nozipho, in 2013, right, 95% of Zimbabweans voted for a constitution that mandated direct presidential elections. Can the presidency justify moving, to a parliamentary method of selection without admitting that they're stripping 6 million registered voters of their most basic right?
That is exactly what we're saying of how ZANU is now, using the constitution for its benefit. Section 92 of the Constitution, 2013 Constitution, is the one that specifically looks at the issues of presidency and how everything should be. And more importantly, this bill goes further to deal with the role of ZEC, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, and it sets aside another one where they're now going to look at the mapping. Remember, there are allegations already, according to Zim states and censuses, where we look at citizen mobilization, the census, which is not aligned to constituencies, meaning where there are ZANU strongholds, they get more constituencies and more seats. So already this bill is coming. It's not just a long-term bill. It's starting at the grassroots to say, let's start with the registration of citizens. Let's see how we can have another commission that will focus on this. Let's look at the role of the judicial. Let's look at also the role of the military. So for me, the bill was really well thought of. The issue of people would think about Agenda 2030 and feel, oh, it's just 2 years. But I've always asked the question, why would the president make so much noise for 2 years? And I still argue, remember my first submission. Yes, we need time when it comes to a country's development. It's not something that happens overnight. 5 years might be too short for a party. But let's be honest, ZANU has been in power for 40 years. And the economy has actually gone down the drain. What makes them believe that if they get more time, things will change when statistically it is shown otherwise? And why are we not opening it up to say, for policy stability, can we not actually have a referendum where we talk about where we are going as a country that will mandate whoever is coming into power, they're building into it? Because right now we're being held at ransom where someone says, oh, no, I haven't completed the road infrastructure, trade issues. But it's not about the individual in power. It's about the script, the rules, the regulations, the constitution that will govern the people in power together with the citizens. And you speak about the 90-day. From 2017, after the coup and the election that was stolen in courts, there is no bill that ZANU has put forward that has not seen the light of day, in as much as their public consultations. Public consultations are done ceremonially to prove the credibility, but all the bills that have came through from President Emmerson Mnangagwa have been specifically to shrink the civic space and to make sure it tightens and solidifies its power. I can give you examples of POSA, which is now MOPA, when it looks at a public assembly. I can give you the example of the PVO bill, where it now needs to monitor the influencers coming in and what role they have in development when we're looking at non-profits, NGOs. I can give you the bill of the patriotic bill, which speaks about it can be treason to criticize the government. So this is a blueprint where ZANU is just topping up. So if you come and ask the 90-day and public consultation, the rule of thumbs will tell you that whether people are going to speak or not. And remember, 2/3 of parliament now, ZANU holds it. And if those 10 senators are being added to the already strong upper house, technically, this is a one-party state. And technically, whatever ZANU wants, it will go.
Well, yes. In the lead up to this, you've actually asked very valid questions. Why will the president make so much noise for 2 years? What makes them feel, that things will change if they're given more time? Questions are being asked like, is this a vote of no confidence in the electorate? Does the shift to a parliamentary selection suggest that ZANU-PF no longer believes that it can win a direct popular mandate in 2028? There was also mention of reducing election-related disruptions. So is the government now viewing the democratic process itself as a disruption to its own Vision 2030 goals? So many questions being asked. But coming back to you, Dr. Mupambi, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the internal reports that suggest that Vice President Constantino Chiwenga is bitterly opposed to this extension. Is this amendment less about national stability and more about an internal power struggle to block a specific successor?
I don't think so. I don't think this amendment bill, I think it's threatening probably the opposition movements. It is threatening the civic society. It is threatening, I don't think it deserves to threaten the stature of Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. Why? Because knowing ZANU-PF, they may indicate right and turn left. These indications that may suggest that there is a friction between the President of the Republic, President Mnangagwa, and Vice President may not be founded. So in essence, I think that going forward, like I've said, yes, I'm taking into account, in my view, what the opposition constituency is raising, but I fail to see the technical strategy of trying to justify that or trying to cementize other than mere activism. Going forward, I foresee, like my sister said, I foresee this going through, but not necessarily because it's ZANU-PF, but because there is a majority. Even in the constituency in the country, there is a majority of ZANU-PF. Our people in opposition, they are on WhatsApp, they are on social media, they are in diaspora, but they are less likely politically illiterate. They are illiterate politically. They may fail to connect the knobs on how to take advantage of this system. For me, I see nothing wrong if the opposition is presented with an opportunity to focus on cementizing the ground. I've always said the opposition has got a competitive advantage in the urban areas. They could actually focus on putting the knobs together.
I think we should take a quick break. When we come back, we'll definitely wrap up this conversation and then move on to the next segment. Please stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us. We're about wrapping up our conversation on the constitutional amendment bill in Zimbabwe, and we still have Nozipho with us. We'll just love to hear your final thoughts, Nozipho, especially to the fact that the bill adds 10 presidential appointees to the Senate. So in a country facing projected budget deficits and a massive debt overhang, how is expanding a non-elected bureaucracy a strategic priority for the taxpayer? Nozipho?
You see, this policy change, constitutional amendment, has nothing to do with the citizens. I strongly and firmly say this has everything to do with the ruling party and the interest of the people in the ruling party. Adding of the extra 10 senators is actually trying to remove the constitutional mandate. Remember, people at grassroots level are the ones that decide and choose who comes in and all. The system has been hijacked in the House of Parliament, the House of Assembly. Bringing those people in means they're not there for the people, but there to solidify and give credibility to what the ruling party is pushing. It does not equate to the improvement of our GDP. Again, take note, this same bill focuses on the military, and it has toned down the role of the military, and it says specifically that it will no longer be required to say uphold the constitution. The military will not be there to uphold the constitution. So if the military is not upholding the constitution that the people of Zimbabwe have, then who is the military serving? So that is why I'm saying this bill has nothing to do with the citizens, but it's really about the political party ZANU and the people around. Take note, again, Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, I stated that the bill also proposes another commission that will be there to do the redrawing of boundaries, and they control that data. So it's really a solidifying mechanism where they have the cards for the game. They decide how to play the game and when to play the game. So in a nutshell, it was never about the 2 years for Idi Mnangagwa to be extended. In a nutshell, it's about the party living even beyond Mnangagwa. But right now, the strategy is eliminating the military chiwenga to allow the people who have benefited in ZANU outside the military to continue and benefit from that system, and the constitution will be there to protect those needs.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much, ladies, for your time and for speaking with us on this. Dr. Abigale Mupambi, political analyst. We also had Nozipho Moyo, Executive Director, Africa Kiburi. Thank you so much once again.